and welcome to another BookTube Vlogmas video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. And today is a revisit of a video that I've done every year I've done Vlogmas. Quite enjoy doing it actually. And it is a video by which I take the word Christmas and get a book off of my shelves that begins with each letter from the word Christmas. C-H-R-I-S-T-M-A-S. And just as it has been the last 3 years that I've done this, all of these books are on my currently to be read shelf. So none of these books I've read, and on picking them up it's made me think, oh, I want to get to those guys quite early next year. So I'll crack on with, obviously got to talk through the jumper first. First jumper this is from Asda last year. It's quite a big oversized comfy guy with lots of little different colour pom-poms on it. Very enjoyable, can wear it all times of the year. Potentially not in the summer when it's a bit hot, but it's not specifically Christmassy. But let's get on with these books. I'm going to pop them on my lap so I don't have to keep leaning over like this, which is very unprofessional. So let's get going. The first book I have is for the letter C. I don't know if that's in background. I think that's C. C, and it is Career Girls, Cautionary Tales for the Working Woman by Ms. T. McGill. And fun fact, this is the only book I have on all of my shelves. I've got almost 400 books. This is the only one I have that begins with C that I haven't already read. Imagine. And this is really fun. It's really fun. I got it sent earlier by the It got sent to me earlier this year by the publisher, and it is a lot of illustrations on one page with a sort of short story on the other page, documenting what it is like to work as a woman in today, and it's done in a sort of like 1950s style. So if I just pick one, I'll try and pick quite a short one, but these are the sort of things that are going on. So here we go. Here's a picture here, and it says here, Jen was quietly authoritative, well-liked manager when she was sent on the previous incarnation of Narinda's course, the Candor Combat Convention. Jen's assistant, Jacob, now visibly winces whenever she asks him for the 360-degree kill chain on their seasonal strategic proposals or the blood trail on the analysis chart she is unimpressed with. Interesting. And yeah, it's just got quite a lot of stuff about that in there, and very fun and enjoyable. H is a book called Himself by Jess Kidd, and this I got from Simon at Savage Reads a couple of years ago when I went to visit him. It was not this January, I think it was last January, and I do like to go up there and visit him with my car because I get to fill it all with books. But Simon has been on a bit of a Jess Kidd binge this year and has really enjoyed all of the books that she's written, so I'm very much looking forward to reading this. And I will say, I started reading the first page and my god, it is gripping. If I wasn't in the throes of reading all Christmassy stuff, I would definitely be reading this. However, the beginning of this is not very Christmassy or festive at all. This is about Mahoney, who's returning to Moulderig, which is a very small town on the coast of Ireland's west coast, and he brings only a photograph of his long-lost mother and a determination to do battle with the lies of his past. And no one will tell Mahoney what happened to his mother. And the prologue starts in May 1950 with a really violent attack on a young girl who is protecting her baby son, who I can only assume to be Mahoney and his mother. But my god, it sounds like the first page I was absolutely gripped, and I would definitely be reading that early doors in 2019, so very much looking forward to reading that. Then for the letter R, I've got Reader, I Married Him, which are stories inspired by Jane Eyre. This is edited by Tracy Chevalier, and it's got contributors in it such as Helen Dunmore, Sarah Hall, lovely, Audrey Niffenegger, Lionel Shriver, Tessa Hadley, Emma Donoghue, and they're just some names on the back that I recognise. There's many, and it's all short stories relating to Jane Eyre. I haven't read Jane Eyre in many years, and I'm aware that there's quite a lot of sort of spin-off books and books to do with Jane Eyre that are now out there, and I'm thinking maybe in June or July I might do a Jane Eyre June or July where I read a lot of books that are associated with Jane Eyre. And yeah, obviously because I would read this then, so and read Jane Eyre itself, so I think I may well do that, but would be very interested to hear what people thought about these short stories. I read the foreword by Tracy Chevalier herself, and it's just sort of reignited how much I enjoyed Jane Eyre, and I might watch some films of Jane Eyre in that month and things like that. Just, you know me, I like looking forward to June, I like looking forward to the year and thinking of projects and things, so I think maybe Jane Eyre, June or July, not January because I'll have lots of new books to read then, but maybe I'll be doing that then. So yeah, that would be quite cool. And then I, the letter for I, which is again the only book I've got on my shelf that begins with I that isn't the one I mentioned last year. This is Invitation to the Waltz by Rosamund Lehmann. These are done in these gorgeous Virago collector's editions. I've got 3 of these and they've stopped publishing them now, but so if I ever see them in like secondhand shops, I'm like, yes! But this is a classic coming of age story, which I very much enjoy, particularly when the coming of age story is about a young woman. And this is about Olivia Curtis, who on her 17th birthday receives a diary for her innermost thoughts, a 10-shilling note and a roll of flame-coloured silk on her for her first ball gown dress. So yeah, and it's all about her anticipating the dance and things like that. And it just, I read as I was pulling these books off the shelves, I was reading stuff, and the foreword is told from her, oh, I thought it was grandmother, but it's a grandson, it looks like. In 2005, the grandson writes the foreword about having never read any of his grandmother's books when she was alive and things. And yeah, I just feel like it will be really great. And I do love a coming of age story, particularly a classic one. I'm not sure when this was published. It must be quite an old book. 1932, so yeah, coming of age story set in 1932, enjoyable. The next book I have is a poetry collection, and one that I've already mentioned this month already, and that begins with the letter S, and that is Sincerity by Carol Ann Duffy. This is Carol Ann Duffy's last poetry collection she will be writing while she is Poet Laureate. It is focused on time and childhood, adolescence and adulthood. I read the first poem. Carol Ann Duffy, as I said, I'm not very au fait with poetry, however I do really enjoy Carol Ann Duffy poetry, so I'm looking forward to reading this, and I might read it over the Christmas period actually, because it's something you can quite easily sort of pick up and put down and maybe enjoy. I've just seen there's one called Charlotte, and my sister's name's Charlotte, so yeah, I'll probably read that maybe over the Christmas period. But that is the S book, the first S book, because there's 2 S's in Christmas, guys. The next one is T, and that is The Glass Blowers by Daphne du Maurier. I find that a lot of Daphne du Maurier books are called the something, and I had quite a lot to pick from. However, this is one that I have heard very little about on BookTube, and I got this for Christmas last year off of David's mum, and I haven't read it yet. And this is similar to her book Mary Ann, which I read earlier this year, which is a sort of fictionalised account of her great-great-grandmother's life. This is a fictionalised account of her sort of French side of her family, who were involved in the glass blowing trade, and yeah, there's something here. Oh, so if I read to you the first section, it's very like sort of Daphne du Maurier-esque, if you will. It says here, perhaps we shall not see each other again. I will write to you, though, and tell you as best I can the story of your family. A glassblower, remember, breathes life into a vessel, giving it shape and form and sometimes beauty, but he can, with that same breath, shatter and destroy it. So yeah, I did enjoy Mary Ann. It wasn't like my favourite of the Daphne du Mauriers. I think I ended up giving it 3 stars. There was bits of it which I really loved, and bits of it that were very slow. So I'd be interested to read a bit more. But I like the way Daphne du Maurier would write a fictionalised account of her family's history. I really like that. So hopefully I will enjoy this one slightly more than I enjoyed Mary Ann. So that's my T book. My M book is one that I recently received, and I've also mentioned this month, and that is Mean Girls Club Pink Dawn. This is a graphic novel published by Nobrow. It's fantastic. Look at it. It's all bright pinks and fantastic. Minnie actually got me this for my birthday, and this is it says here, the lascivious ladies of the Mean Girls Club have been raising a riot around town, and the cops are onto them. Prepare for a mad dash of boozing, skull-busting and general mid-century mayhem as they deliver a swift stiletto stab to the crotch of the patriarchy. So yeah, I mean, that sounds exciting, doesn't it? And I read the first double page. Like, I just love these like flashes of pink. So like here, they've got like pink in that man's shirt and pink like under his eyes. And as it gets more, you just get more and more pink. And I mean, look at that. Fantastic, can't wait to read that, cannot wait. The book 4A is A Galaxy of Her Own, which is Amazing Stories of Women in Space by Libby Jackson. This is one I picked up at the Penguin Christmas party last year and still haven't read. I had plans to read it in February and I don't think I ever got round to it. It's one of these books that are out, there's quite a lot of these out at the moment, with a portrait or a illustration of a woman and then her background there. But this is all to do with women in space, which is something that I'm very interested in. I loved Hidden Figures last year, and sort of that raised a bit of interest for me, so I'd be really keen to look into this. So that is my one for A. And then the last one I've got is S, the second S in Christmas, and that is Sealskin by Sue Bristow. I also think I either got this from Mercedes or got this from Simon, I think, when they were sort of getting rid of things. This sounds really fun. It doesn't sound really fun. This sounds really interesting. It was the winner of the Exeter Novel Prize, and it follows Donald, who's a young fisherman who is living a lonely life on the west coast of Scotland. And it also has, it's based on the legend of the Selkies, who are seals who can transform into people. And yeah, I just feel like I'm going to really enjoy this. I love sort of I've really been getting into nature writing and things like that. And this, when I picked it up, I was like, oh, that sounds like it could be very based in nature. And yeah, and I love things set in sort of like Scotland and Ireland and places like that. So very much interested in reading that as well. So those are some books that begin with the words Christmas, begin with the letters from the word Christmas on my shelf. I always find it quite enjoyable to do these these videos, because you get to have a re-look at your shelves and pull some books off the shelf. So there may be some books in there that you haven't seen on my channel before, which is nice. And also it's nice to see not always like brand new books that are coming out as well. It's nice to have a little range. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to hold these books up now. They're so heavy though. And these are the books that spell out Christmas. And I will see you all again tomorrow for another Vlogmas video. Goodbye!